Assalamualaikum. My name is Afifah Rizza binti Samali, and this individual presentation I will be discussing an important topic in the history of Western music, which is the comparison between two different musical periods, the classical period and the romantic period. I will explain two differences and similarities in terms of musical style, musical element, and historical context of both periods. The classical period, which took place around 1750 to 1820, is known for its organized, balanced, and clear musical style. Music during this time focused on structure and form, such as the sonata form and symphony. Melodies were usually short, symmetrical, and easy to follow. Famous composers like Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Joseph Haydn produced music that was elegant, logical, and well structured, reflecting the ideals of the Enlightenment, which emphasized reason and order. On the other hand, the Romantic period, which began around 1820 and lasts until the early 20th century, introduced a more emotional and expressive musical style. Composers focused on personal feelings, imagination, and deep emotion. Romantic music often expressed love, sorrow, nationalism, and dreams. The structure became more free and flexible, and composers such as Frederick Chopin and Robert Schumann created music filled with drama, individuality, and passion. Although the musical styles were different, both periods still used traditional forms like the symphony and sonata. However, Romantic composers often expanded or modified this form to be more expansive and personal. Musical element. In terms of melody, classical music features simple, clear, and balanced melodies, while Romantic music contains longer, more emotional, and complex melody. Rhythm in the classical period was steady and predictable. In contrast, Romantic music used more flexible rhythm to express emotion, often with sudden change in tempo. The texture of classical music is mostly homophonic, meaning a single main melody with harmonic accompaniment. In the Romantic era, composers used a variety of texture, including polyphony, to add drama and depth to the music. Harmony in classical music was straightforward and followed traditional rules. Romantic harmony became more adventurous, using modulation and chromatism to create emotional tension and color. Regarding instrumentation, classical orchestra was smaller and used standard instruments such as string, woodwinds, and bass. In the Romantic period, the orchestra grew large, and new instruments like the harp, tuba, and glesta were introduced. Composers experimented with different timbres to create rich and dramatic effects. Historical context. The classical period occurred during the Enlightenment, a time when reason and logic were highly valued in society. Music was often composed for the aristocracy and noble court. Composers usually worked under the patronage system, serving kings, nobles of the church. Music at that time reflected elegance, order, and balance. In contrast, the Romantic period came after major historical events such as the French Revolution and the Industrial Revolution. Society shifted its focus toward personal freedom, individuality, and emotional expression. Composers become more independent, creating music based on their own ideas and feelings rather than the demands of the court. Romantic music often expressed personal struggle, love, nationalism, and deeper human emotion. Despite the different historical settings, music remained an important tool to express culture, beliefs, and the human experience. An example of composer and works. Some examples of classical music include Mozart's Symphony No. 50 and Haydn The Surprise Symphony. Example of romantic works include Chopin Nocturnes and Tchaikovsky Swan Lake. In conclusion, the classical and romantic periods are very different in terms of musical style, element, and historical background. The classical period focused on structure, clarity, and order, while the romantic period emphasized emotion, imagination, and freedom. Both periods played a major role in the development of Western music and gave us many of the masterpieces we still enjoy today. By understanding the characteristics of each era, we can better appreciate the evolution and beauty of music throughout history. That is all for my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.